Hey everyone, welcome back to Corporate Decoder, the place where we unpack the numbers behind the headlines. And in this filing, we have a company that's really trying to make a splash in the water business, but the numbers tell a bit of a different story so far. Today we are diving into Rainmaker Worldwide Inc.'s latest quarterly report, the one ending June 30, 2025. Now, this isn't a company that's making waves with profits just yet. In fact, they've got some serious ground to cover to become a going concern. Looking at their balance sheet for June 30, 2025, we see total assets are a mere $359.6. This is down from $501.6 at the end of 24. That's a drop of over $18,000 in just 6 months. And the cash balance, it's a tiny $440. Yes, you heard that right, just 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 $440.6. Now, let's talk about operations. For the 3 months ending June 30, 2025, they reported a net loss of $38.23. That's a significant jump from the $13.52. That's a significant $290 loss in the same period last year. And for the 6 months ending June 30, $2,252.25 for the same period in 2020, June 30, 2020, $1,025.55 for the same period in 2024. Basically, their losses are growing faster than their potential revenue. And that growing loss is reflected in their equity. By June 30, 2025, their total stockholders deficit was over $13 million. That means their liabilities far outweigh their assets. When we look at cash flows from operating activities for the 6 months ended June 30, 2025, it shows they used $30.24. That might sound like a small number, but remember, this is cash used, so it's going out the door, not coming in. The company is in the business of water production and purification technologies using atmospheric water generator systems, or AWGs. They've had a complicated history with mergers and acquiring other companies like Miranda, but the current financial situation is dire. They openly admit they have incurred continuing losses from operations and have an accumulated deficit of over $77 million. This raises substantial doubt about their ability to continue as a going concern. They mention they are preparing their financial statements in accordance with United States Generally Accepted Accounting Principles, or GAAP, which is standard, but they also point out that their entire property and equipment depreciation schedules are based on things like leasehold improvements having a useful life of less than 10 years and manufacturing equipment around 5 years. These are the typical lifespans for such assets. One really interesting but concerning note is about a legal judgment from 2016 that was upheld on appeal in 2018. The contingent liability for this judgment, including accrued interest, is now over $6.3 million. This is a massive obligation for a company with such little cash. And even more concerning is that they had to restate their previously issued financial statements. They found an error in not accruing interest on that 2016 legal judgment. This means their past financial reports were not entirely accurate, and this error increased their liabilities and their accumulated deficit. This error also led to a conclusion that their disclosure controls and procedures were not effective. They identified a material weakness in accounting for accrued interest on that legal judgment. Adding to the concerns, management also concluded that their internal control over financial reporting was not effective. They cited a few key reasons, including a lack of segregation of duties, not having a formal policy for related party transactions, and necessary material audit adjustments. These are pretty significant red flags for a company's financial health and transparency. Digging deeper into that legal matter, as we mentioned before, there's a judgment from 2016 that was upheld in 2018. And it accrues 5% interest annually, so that contingent liability of over $6 million is a very real and a very large problem for Rainmaker. The report mentions there has been no change to their risk factors since their 2024 filing. This implies that all the risks they identified last year are still very much in play. And given their current financial state, those risks are likely even more pronounced. There were quite a few issuances of common stock for conversions of convertible promissory notes in early 2025. For example, on January 2025, they issued over 4 million common shares related to one specific note conversion. This was followed by another conversion that resulted in over 30 and over 3 million shares, and then another for over 8 million shares. They also issued a significant number of shares to consultants in April and May for services. They again highlight the restatement of their financial statements due to the accrued interest on the legal judgment. This reinforces the seriousness of that particular accounting error. As is standard for these filings, they include certifications from their CEO and CFO confirming the accuracy of the report and that they provided the required disclosures. Now, looking at management's discussion and analysis, they acknowledge the company has historically suffered recurring losses and has limited resources. They mentioned that as of June 30, 2025, they had just $440 in cash. They are very clear that there is no assurance of additional financing or that they will become profitable. And the big story for revenue, it was nil for both the 6-month periods ending June 30, 2025 and June 30, 2024. This is a company with no sales to speak of. General and administrative expenses, however, did increase significantly. For the 6 months ending June 30, 2025, these expenses were $25,003.03, up from $16,506 in the same period last year. A big chunk of this increase was due to stock-based compensation, which went up by over $1,100. In terms of liquidity, they are in a very precarious position. They admit they have not generated significant revenue and do not have the cash to execute their business plans. They've raised about $8.2 million since 2015, but have sustained losses every year and expect losses to continue. One notable event after the reporting period, on July 3, 2025, they issued 3 million common shares upon conversion of another 45,000 preferred shares. Overall, Rainmaker Worldwide Inc. is in a very challenging financial situation. Their operating expenses are outpacing any potential revenue, and they have a huge legal liability hanging over them. While their business idea of providing water solutions is a noble one, the financial reality is they are burning through cash with no immediate prospect of generating it. The fact that their auditor pointed out substantial doubt about their ability to continue as a going concern, and they've had to restate financials due to accounting errors, really highlights the significant risks involved with this company. It's hard to restate financials due to accounting errors, really highlights the significant risks involved with this company. It's hard to see a clear path to profitability or even survival without a major turnaround or a substantial injection of external capital on very favorable terms, which seems unlikely given their current state. Alright, that's our breakdown of Rainmaker Worldwide Inc.'s latest filing. What's your take on these numbers and what they signal for the company's future? Drop your thoughts in the comments. If this analysis was valuable, hitting that like button really helps, and subscribe for more deep dives. Don't forget to check out the Discord in the description. Thanks for watching. See you next time.